Hey, everybody, it's Chris Pistorius with Kickstart Dental Marketing coming to you with another dental growth hack. So today I want to talk quickly about three things that matter way more than just running Google ads. Everybody knows about Google ads, right? It's, you pay, it's an auction, and you're supposed to get a bunch of leads, and it's really expensive, especially if you're a cosmetic dentist or if you're looking for implant cases, stuff like that. 10, 20, 30, depending where you are, dollars per click. So what I want to talk to you about really is, if you think that running Google ads, and let me tell you, my agency runs Google ads, right? We do, and we're very successful with it. But I think what happens is that some dental practices, when they come to us, all they hear is from other agencies, from gurus out there, whoever it might be. And when they go to shows and trade shows, stuff like that, you hear about Google ads, Google ads, Google ads. And really, you're only seeing half the picture. I get a lot of calls. People say, hey, I want to do Google ads. How much does it cost to do Google ads? I'm like, what's the rest of your strategy, right? It's not just all about Google ads. It's not like you just wave a wand and put your credit card in and you start getting, new implant cases or whitening cases or whatever it might be. Actually, it's less than half the story, really. Way less, in my opinion. I think probably one of the biggest points I want to really try to drive home in this short video is that you need to worry about lead quality over lead quantity. How many leads will I get? How many new patients will I get? I get those questions a lot, and it's all about volume, volume, volume. And what I try to explain to people is, volume's important for people that are doing Medicaid, people that just want to kind of churn and burn. And I get that. I respect that business model. But for a majority of the dentists and a majority of our clients, not all leads are created equal, right? I've talked about this in previous podcasts where, I'd rather have a higher quality lead come into you, somebody that's going to be loyal. They're not the Groupon market that I always talk about. There's somebody that's not only going to come in and give you a fair shot, they're a quality patient, takes the insurance you accept. Maybe they're cash fee for service, whatever it might be. But it's somebody that's going to stick around and not just go to the next deal, right? Somebody that's going to come back to you for 3, 5, 7, 10 plus years, right? You guys all have these in your patient base now. These people that are, fans of yours, and they've been with you for years, or they've been with the practice for years. That's what you want to come in. Because if you're just looking for leads and lead quality and, just looking for, appointments, we can do that all day. But let's fill that up with more qualified people that are going to come back for and see your lifetime value of a new patient go up. The other thing that I think a lot of you guys miss on this is call handling. This is the real ROI lever to any Google ads or really any other marketing that you're doing. If your front desk isn't converting those calls that come in or those emails or those chat messages, whatever it might be, you're just kind of funding Google's yacht, right? They're a multi-billion-dollar company and they get most of that revenue from their ads, right? Google ads products. So I guess my point is, don't underestimate the value of your front desk, right? These folks are going to be your first line of defense to not really defense, offense for people that are calling in from these Google ads. And if they're not trained to know how to talk to these folks, it's not going to go well and you're not going to get what you want out of it, right? Taking a call from a referral from Aunt Betsy is a lot different than somebody just finding you on Google and picking up the phone and calling. Do they understand your message? Do they understand, the value truly of what your practice is? Are they trained to the latest T in terms of phone etiquette and, closing techniques? And I know some of you are kind of looking at me cross-eyed right now. Closing? This isn't a used car lot. Well, guess what? I hate to tell you this. You are in sales. Whether you want to admit that or not, there is a sales component to what you're doing. And these folks need to be trained to be able to not talk like maybe a used car salesman, right? We don't want that. But what we do want is somebody that's, very good on the phones and can convert those people, preferably on the first time that they call in. The last point that I'm going to make in this video is going to be that the follow-up can also be the deal breaker here. All right. So by a show of hands, how many of you, let's say somebody calls in, they ask about dental implants or Invisalign or whatever it is you do, and your front desk gives them information and they try to schedule the appointment, but like, I need to talk to my wife or my husband, or I need to check my insurance, stuff like that. Click, phone call's over. How many of your practice, by a show of hands, will follow up with that person that called you the next day. Be truthful about that, right? Some of you will probably say, yeah, I do. Or some of you will say, yeah, sometimes we do when we have time. But I can promise you that 90% plus of you don't have a reliable kind of on autopilot system to follow up with these leads. If you could just bring 10% of those people back into your practice without just relying on them to, well, I hope they call back, right? If you could just get 10 to 20% of those people back in, which we see all the time, easy, what does that account for on a quarterly, yearly, 5-year basis? How much added revenue will you have into your practice, right? So if we're going to do Google ads and somebody's not quite ready to buy, let's not just say, all right, well, hopefully they call back. Nope. We need a follow-up system in place that's reliable and it's done every time on autopilot and it's done effectively. That can be a really big difference whether you're getting good results from Google ads, really any marketing aspect whatsoever. So I'm going to close with this. There's a reason, obviously, I put this out there because over the last 16 years, I've just seen this happen, right? Time and time and time again. But we're living in a world now where you can fix this pretty easily and it's not human capital. You don't have to rely on your front desk to say, all right, well, we didn't close, if you want to use those terms, 10 calls today at the end of the day. We need to make sure that we call them back in the morning. We get busy. Your front desk staff is already overworked. There's going to be times when you can't get to that. So AI can help with this. We have a proven system that we've developed here in-house that will follow up with those leads for you automatically. You don't have to do it. And you'll be able to go into an online system and see all the leads that came in and where we are in the process of trying to reconnect with those folks and getting them back onto your schedule. So what do you think of that? I'd love for you to drop a comment, see if this is something maybe you're already doing, and I'd love to hear how you're doing it specifically. And if you need help with it, do give me a call. I'll give you free advice. You don't have to use us. Dental.com. Click on the free discovery call button, and that'll put you in connection with me, and we can chat specifically about your practice. Thanks, guys. Talk to you next time.